the way back from Drogheda, the way back to Drogheda from Dublin, and I used to be visiting it all too regularly, and I just found myself getting quite addicted to the spice bag, and that sort of inspired the tune. Do you like spicy foods?
Hello everybody, welcome to Keep It Zen. I'm your host Zenadean, and today I've got a guest for the latest installment of a chill interview, Donal Quinn.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing grand. How are you? How are you doing yourself?
Pretty amazing. Today is very beautiful. It's warm, sunny, and I'm chatting to you, man, so all is good. All is good. Chatting about music, my favourite topic of conversation.
Yeah, mine too. Okay, so to start things off, if I'm not mistaken, from what I saw, you've been making music since around 2014-ish?
I've been releasing music as a solo artist since 2014. Yeah, that's correct. I've been in bands and been making music or playing music since I was about, 19, 20, but taking it seriously and recording and releasing since 2014, which was that's when I put my first single out. Yeah, around this time. So yeah, there's an anniversary. I think it was the 27th of April or 27th of April 2014. Was it 2014 or 15? 2014. Yeah, I released a single called Heart in Your Hand. Yeah, and it's been a pretty full on since ever since.
Yeah,
putting out music, a couple of singles every year, man. Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I know you do a lot of live shows as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any standout experiences in like a live show? Like any unique examples that stick out in your mind?
Yeah. Probably the most recent Whelan's gig I did is a real standout for me. I had a really busy year in 2019 and put out 3 singles, and I think they're 3 of my best singles, or 3 of my favourite singles anyway. And I kind of had a real a lot of momentum in 2019, and I found that I gathered a lot of new followers and people started to know my music more. And then I did a headline Whelan's gig in January of this year, 2020, and that just kind of peaked for me, where I had a lot of people that knew my music and came to see the show, and I put on a good show. I really kind of just got into it, and I felt pretty good, and the song sounded great, and everyone was up for it. So that one stands out to me a lot, actually. Yeah. Out of all of them over the years.
The 3 singles you released last year,
Yeah.
I believe they were Bubble, Spicy Food, and was it
3 a.m.
Was it
No.
Massive
Well, I
Anthem?
should probably include Twat in that one, because that's one of my favourites as well. So at the end of 2018 I released Twat, and then the start of 19 it was Spicy Food, then 3 a.m, and then at the end of the year it was Bubble. So they would be kind of the 4 songs that would be most well known or most well received of mine. So yeah, I'm happy that they've all come quite recently, and that the songs that I'm writing at the moment are the ones that are connecting really well, and are really, really fun to play. I really enjoy them now. Yeah.
Yeah, when I first heard about you, I looked you up and listened to some of your songs, and Bubble, your newest one, it really caught me ear, because the chord progression is like, I haven't heard that kind of chord progression before, like in the build up. Like, was that planned from the get go, or did that just come by like playing around a bit?
From the get go, it was I wanted to detune the E string anyway, so it gives it a real sort of almost kind of romantic feel. The high E strings. So I'm just at the start. At the start, I was just kind of messing around with two chords, a G and a C. And when you detune the E string, just playing those two, it's really kind of romantic. It's a nice, really nice sound. And then just moving around those two chords and a few more, I kind of stumbled on another progression that brought me a kind of. It just kind of escalates towards the chorus. It goes up through the frets. If I'm explaining that okay, but it's a different, interesting kind of chord progression. I don't even know what it is. But it was kind of all revolved around those two initial chords, the G and the C. But when you detune the E string, it kind of just creates an atmosphere, really. So I felt with that tune, I was I was more so trying to capture an atmosphere of an acoustic vibe, just an intimate acoustic vibe, and then the kind of the context and of the song again is quite intimate and personal and stripped back. So yeah, it was with that song. It was really about creating an atmosphere, and that's why I kind of really stripped it back in the production as well, and just I've just used brushes rather than a big drum part. I really light brushes, and just some nice mellow keys, So yeah, I know where you're coming from with the whole chord progression there.
Yeah, it was really nice. Also on your Instagram, you put out a song in your living room because of this whole quarantine situation.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, because I like asking people this because I like to get a lot of unique answers. Through this, have you been using this extra time to write more music or try and perfect the music you already have?
Initially, the first couple of weeks, I had like 3 songs coming into quarantine period that I wanted to finish off, and I started working. I just wanted to finish them off and working on them, and I did that. And I also found myself wanting to get more comfortable with the piano and keyboard. I've dabbled in it over the years for recording purposes, but never really sat down and tried to get really comfortable on it. I've always wanted to, but never particularly had the time. So I've been taking quarantine period to get really comfortable on the keyboard and the piano. And also, yeah, definitely I've written more songs, so yeah, like I've been working on music for 3 hours, 2-3 hours every day, and there's that kind of added incentive of getting stuff up online because there aren't gigs to work towards, I suppose, because a lot of the time you write songs and use gigs as kind of
the tester,
as a tester and as a motivational thing, where I have to have this written for this Wheelings gig or whatever. So I find putting videos up on Instagram, that's another motivator. So to keep you writing and to keep your keep your iron in the fire, as it were,
Yeah.
So yeah, to answer your question, I have been writing loads.
Considering you have been spending 2 or 3 hours a day, there's still like another 20. What else have you been doing to like just keep yourself just help yourself push through the times?
I work. I teach, so I'm doing online teaching. That creates a bit of a routine. I'm into working out and sport, so I do a lot of that. I do a run. I go for a run. I work out. I play football. I, you know, like food's a big part of my day as well. Spend a lot. I'm quite a slow eater, Keith.
Yeah.
So that takes up a lot of my time. What else? Yeah, just between those three, exercise, food, music, and work. Between those four activities, it pretty much eats up the hours.
Well, I mean, it's always nice to
And by
have
the
that.
time I get out of bed anyway, there's not much time left in the day. I'm not a morning person.
Yeah, neither am I really. I usually have to I either have to get up at like 4 a.m. to get to work or stay in bed until 12 before I get up.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you.
So it's good to always have a bit of routine overall.
Yeah, well, I've got enough interests and hobbies to keep me entertained, man. I'm not going to be twiddling my thumbs for too long. Like, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Sport, you know.
So you've been taking this seriously for about 6 years. You've been in newspapers, on interviews.
Yeah.
You've performed with people in different spots. Is there anyone in particular that you really enjoyed performing with or performing for?
As regards other bands that I've maybe shared the stage with.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can just think of like the past year really. I've played with. Like I really enjoyed, to be honest, doing an event in Shinay. It's a friend of mine. He runs an event every second Thursday in Shinay in Dublin, and it's called the Crystal Skull Sessions, and it's pretty much like a gathering of friends, really, and we play 5 or 6 songs and support each other and know each other's tunes and share a stage with each other. So I like that community. I like playing in Drogheda as well, in a place called Odd Molly's. There's a venue there, and likewise, it's kind of just a community of musicians where there's an event night on a Wednesday, and you'll go in and do that and practice new songs, try new songs, or go to hear your mates' new songs, and the people who go there will know all of your music because they check you out on you know, they might follow you on Instagram and see that you're playing on the Wednesday night and come and check you out. So it's those little communities that I enjoy, and also another community is Fuzzed Up Indie Club. A mate of mine runs an event in Dublin called Fuzzed Up, and that's where I would have met friends of yours, Emily Seven, and many other bands through Fuzzed Up. They run events in a few different venues, but mostly the underground on Dame Street, and I've played that a lot. And it's that, like I said, those type of communities that is it's more than just me. It's like friendship as well, and it's social. So I enjoy that aspect of it. What else have I done? Like, I've done a lot. I just, can't really remember, man. To be honest, it's the more recent stuff that I remember. Like I've mentioned there, yeah.
Yeah, no, obviously I am putting you on the spot here and there because I'm still trying to get a grasp of this whole interview style as well.
No, right. I've supported. I did a gig. I've supported people like. I did a festival with Jake Bugg and Jerry Cinnamon in Scotland in 2018. I did a support band with a support slot with Space, a band from the 90s, had that song "Female of the Species," good tune, huge in the 90s. I've done some good festivals, like Fantastival and which is a festival based in Drogheda and things like that. Yeah, so loads, too many to mention, man.
So yeah, you've had a very extensive catalogue of things you've done. But
Yeah.
I know for Emily Seven, they were specifically really against. They only performed their own songs, and they're like against covers and all that. I noticed on your Instagram you put up a cover of "My Way" by Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
How do you perform?
That's life. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's live. Yeah.
Do you know
sorry.
what? Yeah. Likewise. I don't particularly do covers in my original set because a lot of the time I play for I play for 35 minutes, just trying to have like a blistering short 35-minute set, and I pretty much spend most of my time just working on my own music. So those 35-minute sets would be comprised of my songs. So I wouldn't spend too much time or devote too much attention to covers, but I did feel like doing that cover song because I thought it was appropriate, and it sounded alright when I was doing it on the keyboard, and I think I'd just seen the movie Joker, and it's in that movie, and it's quite an iconic scene at the end there where that tune kicks in.
Yeah. But okay, so this isn't jumping off of anything. This is just a separate question I had. You have a very widened range of sounds in all your songs. Like, even in last year, the few songs you released sound very different. Do you play all of them in a set, or would you separate them for different types of audiences, or would you have them in a way where it opens and closes, kind of thing?
I tend to just play the most recent songs that I've been writing or recorded because they're the ones I'm into most. And also I tend to play the songs that work best on an acoustic guitar because that's how I've been gigging the past couple of years, like solo with an acoustic guitar. So whichever songs that sound and work best in that format are the ones that I play. Like some of those songs that I've recorded over the past couple of years have a lot of production on them and are trickier to pull off without that production. So for example, the ones that will definitely be in the set list would be Spicy Food, Twat, Bubble, 3am, Massive Anthem, maybe Blurred, and some newer ones that I'm working on. But kind of you might notice that a few of them are a similar style, like the fast ones.
Yeah, they're like
are a similar style. Yeah, indie kind of fast, choppy indie songs, and then I'll throw in a slower one just to give dynamic to the set. Like Bubble and 3am are slower and of a different vibe. I'll always try to keep the set fast, indie, and dancey kind of. Just get
the crowd
get the crowd moving and catchy and get them singing along. And then, like I said, try to integrate some slower ones in there to give the set dynamic.
Mm. Do you ever have a case of like a crowd member or something coming up before or after a show just to like talk because they really enjoy your music?
Definitely, yeah. Pretty much a lot of gigs will be like that. When you're playing original music, I find that people respond to that, and when they see you're passionate about what you're doing, it'll almost rub off. And if they don't come up and say well done or talk to you about it, like for example Spicy Food, but usually a lot of people would respond to that one. If they don't come up to you, they might follow you on Instagram and support you that way. So I do find that or like the gigs I play and venues I play, they'd be very supportive of my music in that way. Which is great because it encourages you to keep going and to keep doing what you're doing. Because if your music was falling on indifferent ears or deaf ears, then it might not be too inspiring.
Yeah, it's always nice to get in, and usually when people are there, they're ready to listen to music, so it's very difficult to like have an indifferent listener.
Yeah,
especially for like opening for someone else. That's probably one of the best places you can go to sing your music, because that's probably a bunch of people who've never heard your music before.
Yeah, it's always not try and win over a crowd. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was gonna move on to saying, how often would you open for someone else versus like an open mic on your own, or?
It really depends. Like, how often would I open for someone? Like, anytime really. Someone might hit me up on Facebook saying they're launching an EP. Would you mind opening up for me? A lot of the time, it's people I know. Because Ireland's a small place and the music community, like everyone knows each other in the music, sort of on the music scene. So you kind of just support. You're helping each other out. You'd open for someone, or they'd open for you, and return the favour, and you can, I suppose, share crowds that way. And if you're opening for someone, for example, I opened for a friend of mine in Whelan's in February, and to promote their gig, they're also promoting your music because you're opening for them.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win situation, really. It's just about getting there. Like, I'll always accept a gig. I'll always endeavour to get and play, and because I love doing it. So I could be opening for someone every second week, and vice versa. They could be doing the same for me, or you could. It just really just take it as it comes. To be honest, my friend.
Yeah, I know, because the Irish music scene in general is built off of like building off each other.
Yeah.
It's probably, I wouldn't call it like a codependent community, but it is one of those communities where if you know someone, you're bound to at least know the inner circle after not too long.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
You think that would probably lead to like, I don't know, maybe like collaborations on a song, but I haven't ever noticed that in the Irish community in general.
Yeah. Yeah, like speaking from personal experience, I've often said, "Oh, we should collaborate. We should do this. We should do that." And I find like, I spend enough time doing like, it takes me long enough to write these songs myself. So. Me personally, it's pretty much a solo thing, a solo sort of lone wolf thing for me. But I'd love to collaborate and have done in the past. Like, I suppose collaboration for me would come with if I'm recording a song and I'm getting ideas off a producer. I work with a producer, James Darkin, in Black Mountain Studios in Dundalk. And if I'm coming to him with a tune to record, he'll give me ideas, and that would be collaboration for me. Like you do see it on social media where people are collaborating at times, but I agree with you. You don't see it that often. I don't really have an answer. I don't know why.
Yeah,
suppose people are just trying to focused on getting their own thing off the ground. It's hard, and it's kind of a hard enough industry to crack. You have to really keep plowing away at your own stuff and try and make it work.
Yeah, as if not, you kind of have to build it off. Like, if you do collaborations often enough, you're probably going to have to try and focus on building your career off of collaborations, which is kind of like what I'm doing. But it doesn't really work as well with music, especially for like out there ideas like your song Spicy Food. Did you just randomly think, hey, I want to like make something that like people can relate to, or I like get them dancing, or did this idea come for you from the producer you're on about, or like what was the story? Can I just go back?
Do you mind if I just go back to the previous topic? When I was saying collaborations, I was like referring to actual writing with people and song collaborations.
Yeah.
Are you coming from the aspect of like, say, how would collaborations work in your world? Like, you're collaborating with artists on your podcast, is it?
No, I was more on about collaborations with in the way you were thinking. I was just kind of pulling it back to my viewing. Yeah. Do you collaborate often with? I know you do a few interviews. You did one with Fuzzed Up and yeah, you do a few.
Yeah, like definitely there would be people that you would kind of, I suppose, associate with, and like what I mentioned earlier, there are certain event nights that I would be closely linked to, like they're Fuzzed Up. My mate Kozak, the Mars Entertainment, where he runs the Shin A thing, and he also runs a radio show which I will go on, and I suppose I'm promoting his thing and his radio show by saying I'm going on it, and he's promoting my music by
playing it,
me being on it.
Oh yeah, you playing.
And then there might be, you know, photographers that you would work with. A friend of mine, Hobby Man, he's worked with me last year on single releases and live gigs. He's taking photos of my gigs, and then I'm promoting his photography. So it's collaborative in that respect. With regard to Spicy Food, yeah, I really just wanted to write something as catchy as possible, you know, with the whole the roof you met is on fire. And it was also inspired by there's this Chinese takeaway in Sanskrit called Sansans. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but I used to find myself making two regular an occasion of visiting that place on the way home from gigs and nights out from Dublin to Drogheda. It's just off the M1 on the way back from Drogheda, the way back to Drogheda from Dublin, and I used to be visiting it all too regularly, and I just found myself getting quite addicted to the spice bag, and that sort of inspired the tune. Do you like spicy foods?
I mean, a lot of people are addicted to like spice bags and spicy.
Yeah, maybe not anymore, but you know.
Yeah.
But and also I was hearing that line, do you like spicy food, a lot on like dating shows. So I don't know if that rings any bells for you, but I was hearing that a lot. And
like first dates?
Yeah, things like that, you know. It's like a topic of conversation, so I felt like I'd put it in a song. That would be like, those kind of things would be kind of song inspirations for me. Stuff that you hear people saying like in commonplace and in just sort of everyday conversation. You know, I tried to make the language in songs relatable.
Yeah.
And also with a little bit of a kind of a humorous twist, so that's where that spicy food song came from. And also there's a way I play it on the guitar that kind of sounds like it also sounds like a kick drum. So it really has a dancey feel and just hooks people in when it's played live.
Yeah. One thing I really like about your music is on like at least your faster songs, you don't take yourself too seriously, because I feel like if you're making like a dance like upbeat, fast moving song, but people like who take themselves seriously, I think it like pulls away from like the vibe people would be having from it.
Yeah, like there's a song I found my sets getting gradually slower. This year, I was like, there seemed to be slower songs where I was taking myself too seriously, cropping up a lot more, and the set was getting a little diluted. So I was like thinking to myself, I need to write faster, more fun songs, and that's what I've been focusing on. The past few months is to write fun, catchy, fast songs that are a bit of a laugh. And I've put one up on my Instagram called Naughty Boy, which is in that same vein.
Yeah.
And I've another, I have another one at the moment called Scream If You Want to Go Faster. And that is like, I just I think I saw that in a theme park, it's like like a theme park or something like that, or something. Saw that somewhere and I thought it'd be a fun, antsy kind of clubby thing to say. So I've got two more faster ones to add to my set, which will kind of bring the pace back up a bit and get away from the whole serious vibe.
So, through everything that's been going on and your writing style recently, you're still focusing really hard on trying to make the best live set you can.
Exactly, yeah. To be honest, like, just from experience, that's the only thing you can control really, are the songs that you enjoy playing, and like I find that there are times when you can focus on getting this coverage or that radio play or getting this piece of recognition, and that's very time consuming, and at the end of it you don't really like. What am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say, like, there's not much of a payoff of that. You might get in hot press, or you might get a play in the radio, but I'd rather focus my attentions now on songs that I find really enjoyable and that really work well to play live, because that's where I'm getting the most fun at the moment. I used to get a buzz off of recognition and getting mentions in hot press or plays on national radio, but it's short-lived, and a lot of the time you can't control it, and it doesn't really mean anything, it's just that fact that someone might have read your email, or you might have gotten through to this person, that person. Whereas I find the most meaning comes from songs that go down really well live, and that you are kind of known for, like, that stand out a lot to people. I find that songs like Twat and Spicy Food have almost taken on a conscience. They almost have a conscience of their own, like that. I'm not pushing to play, like, it's not a challenge to play them. They almost wrote themselves and they play themselves. Whereas there are other songs that are a struggle to play and to connect, to get to connect with people. Some songs like that. Yeah, go on.
I assume a lot of those songs that are really tough to connect to people are like the songs where you recorded them in a way where you had like a bunch of instruments that you added in like post. But I know with some of those songs you've managed to adapt them into working with the way you play music now, because I know Spicy Food isn't originally played with just a guitar, but
no,
like, did you write it with just the guitar in mind at first, or did you engineer it to the way it sounds in the studio and then pull it back?
I always write them with the guitar. I always try to make them work on guitar first, and then you sit down and produce them. So with the song Spicy Food, that would have been, I put down an acoustic guitar, and then, like, a lot of the time when I'm writing on the acoustic guitar, I'll have dynamics within just that acoustic performance. So it would be dynamic enough so you know where the drums are going to come in and where the drums are going to back off, or you know what's going to be peaks and troughs within that song, so you can produce it around that, if you know what I mean. So I'll always try to have like a choppy guitar sort of sound, and I'll always try to have a structure on the song that will work. I've kind of lost what I'm saying there. I'll always try to have a structure on it, and then that will inform the production. I don't know if that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, fair play, because I know that kind of thing is really difficult for both you and the producer, but you still get really good results out of it.
Yeah, I always write with. I kind of always write with, you know, a band sound in mind, because the songs that the musicians and the songs I'm inspired by and bands I'm inspired by are all indie bands. Arctic Monkeys, you know, bands like that. So I'll have those kind of songs and those sounds in mind. So when it comes to recording.
So with that in mind, and you're producing your song, have you ever like performed the song on just your guitar, not been sure about it, and then transferred it over to the studio, and then realised, oh wow, I actually have something here? Or do you not let it get to the studio if you don't trust that on guitar?
Yeah, so I have done that. I did that with a song called Rule My World, where that came together in the studio when all the parts, you know, were put on top of it, you know. What else? I find that lately, though, the past year or so, it kind of has to work on guitar for me, because that's the way I'm playing them a lot live now, is just with an acoustic guitar. So it will have to work, otherwise, you know, I'm not going to have a song out of it to play live.
Yeah.
There's no point in having there's no point in having a song, you know, studio produced if you can't do it live.
Yeah, that's true. Well, considering since you do so much live work, I know the reason why you like live music so much is because you enjoy the crowd interaction. But
yeah.
Does the amount of people who turn up for a show affect you in a positive or negative way at all?
Yeah, I will need enough. I will need enough people in the room to you know, to feel. I'll need enough people in the room to have a buzz. You know, my kind of music works if, you know, there's a good atmosphere going and people are having it and into it, you know. If there aren't, which in some occasions it can be the case, I'll use the opportunity just to work on a new song, or to see how a new song feels. You can play a new song all you want in your home, but, you know, plugging it into big speakers and playing in a different room will give you a good feel for how it's going down. I prefer to have, like, that's why I mentioned Shin A. I love playing Shin A because it's the right kind of room for me. The stage is not really high. It's like a low stage, and it's almost as if people are kind of almost on top of you. And it's a really sort of intense, kind of clubby, pubby atmosphere, you know, whereas there's a really good atmosphere. Whereas places where there's a higher stage and maybe where a bigger room where people kind of sitting around the outskirts and it's not as compact, I don't enjoy that as much. So that might be the same as like not having many people.
Yeah.
I like to have a nice tight closed sweaty, kind of noisy, having it atmosphere.
Yeah, because that's pretty much what you need for a proper, like, I don't know, what would you call it, a set? Would you stretch it that far?
Like, again, it's like it's my type of music I play. It's sort of, it's all about fun and it's all about interaction. So the people need to be up close to you and seeing you, and I'll often go out into the crowd with my guitar and just try and, you know,
try and get them
connect.
their mouths on fire.
Yeah. What's that?
Trying to get the root of the mouths on fire.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So places like Whelan's, which from what I've seen from like pictures, I haven't actually been there, but like they're like really big stage. Is there ever a point?
Well, not necessarily like I had lined upstairs, and that's perfect as well. Like, it's the stage, like, it's like low to the ground, and people are right up on top of you, and it's perfect, yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair. But what I'm getting at is, even if that room is like, say, a bigger room with a higher stage, would you still get the same experience, even if it's as packed as the other rooms, if you're up above them? Or is the actual fun of it interacting with the crowd as you do?
I can still get it like that way, but I really just prefer to be kind of on a more of a level with them, you know.
Yeah,
I really do feel that more. I think that the heart, like, it seems to, I don't know, create a barrier if the stage is up too high. You can't see them, or yeah, it just needs to be on the same level as the audience are there. We're getting into technicalities here. Stage set up, some rooms.
yeah, like literally any little thing can be anything can be important. Like, it can be such a small issue,
Exactly.
but if you have an issue with something, like, anything can throw it off. So if you want the best experience, every little thing does have to be perfect. Obviously, if it's not perfect, it's not that big a deal, but it is nice to have these preferences, because it can influence any show you have.
Definitely. 100% agree with that, man, yeah. A lot of the time as well, like the sound, like I find the sound has to be right as well for me. That can really affect your performance.
Yeah.
If I find like I need to be really loud on stage, kind of enjoy my own music, and I need to hear what's coming out of the monitors quite intensely, and have a bit of feedback, and not for it to be, I don't want it to be really clean cut, you know. I like it to be a bit kind of punk and a bit raw.
Does that?
And a bit of feedback. So those kind of conditions, like if it's really loud on stage, and there's a lot of people that are, if it's a small compact room, and people are packed in there and close to the stage, and I'm firing out some of those, you know, faster tunes, and I'm going to enjoy that, you know. When it starts to come out, when you start to sweat from your ears, there's always a point in, it's always like a third song, you know, I start to sweat, man, and that's when I know it's a good gig.
Does the feedback never throw you off?
Not bad feedback. It's more like gain, and I can control it. I need it. I kind of need that bit of gain and feedback in the monitors to create that bang on the guitar, like to simulate a kick drum. I use that technique a little bit, you know, where I need a kind of palm bang the strings on the guitar to create an almost dancey kick drum effect.
Yeah.
Giving away all my secrets here.
Well, hey, that's why people tune in, eh?
Yeah. So
I'm not really sure to jump off from here. Well, we got like not that much time.
Loads.
So
loads in there.
Yeah, no, we talked about a lot, and I'm really happy about how this episode turned out.
Yeah. I suppose what I'd like to say just before I'd like to kind of draw people's attention to my Instagram and Facebook page, which is where I'll be. I suppose we're in lockdown for another couple of weeks, and I don't know where it's going to go with live gigs, so I'll be gigging, as it were, so to speak, on my Instagram and social media over the next few months. I've put a song up called Naughty Boy. I really like that one. It's in the same vein as Spicy Food. It's catchy and it's fun. I've another song going up maybe tonight or tomorrow night, and it's called Where's Your Head At, and it's on a keyboard, so something different. I'm going to be doing keyboard versions of Bubble and a few other of my tunes. So I'd like to draw people's attention to my social media, Donal Quinn Music.
That'll be the first thing in the description.
Yeah.
Of this video.
Sweet.
Yeah, so have you got any last little... I know you just shouted out your Instagram, but have you got any last little like tidbits or statements?
I appreciate you reaching out and wanting to talk to me, and I hope this goes well for you. I love podcasts. That's all I kind of listen. I don't, people are talking about Netflix and shows and all this. I haven't really gotten into it. I YouTube podcasts and listen to interviews. That's where I get my entertainment from. So fair play to you for creating another little outlet for people to listen and to get entertainment and to put their music out there. We need more of that,
Cheers, man. I really appreciate it. I usually try and I like encouraging people to bring up their own podcast, because I have a few friends who are always like, I have this idea and I have that idea, and then I try to encourage them to pursue it, because no matter what the idea is, it's good that you have an idea, and there'll always be an audience for someone out there.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Definitely. And it's all about like getting creative and expressing yourself and doing, having an interest and having a hobby and pursuing that. It's fair play to you. Well done, man.
Cheers, man. I really appreciate it. This has been Keep It Zen. I'm Zenadean. I've been here with Donal Quinn. Thank you for coming on again. Everyone check out his Instagram and his Spotify in the description below. And keep it zen.